This video is about rational exponents. Remember that rational means fractional. So we're talking about fractional exponents. Before we get into that, we should refresh our memory on what anything to the 0 power means. So anything to the 0 power is 1, provided it's not 0 to the 0 power. So for example, if I have 3 to the 0, I would get 1. If I have 5x squared raised to the 0 power, it would still be 1. The second thing that we should refresh our memory on is that when I have a negative exponent, like a to the negative b, I can rewrite that as 1 over a to the b. So for example, if I have 2 to the negative 1, I could write that as 1 over 2. Also, if I have 3x to the negative 4, notice that in this case, the negative exponent is only on the x, so the only thing that would move down would be the x to the 4th. Also, remember that if you already have something in the denominator, you could move it to the numerator. So if I had 1 over x to the negative 5, I might write that as x to the positive 5. So what we're saying is that if we have a negative exponent and it's already in the numerator, I can move it to the denominator. If it's in the denominator, I can move it to the numerator. The meat of this section is actually about raising a power to a fractional exponent. So the rule says that if we have a fractional exponent, x raised to the a divided by b, that can be written as the bth root of x to the a, or alternately, the bth root of x, the quantity to the a. So what that's going to look like for us would be something like y to the 1/3. So here our denominator is the 3, so that's going to be our index, and that's going to be y to the 1st. We could have x to the 2/3. Again, our denominator is 3x squared, or the cube root of 3, cube root of x squared. Let's look at just a couple of more examples on the next page. What if I had 25 raised to the 1/2 power? Well, the 2 is in the denominator, so it is my index, 25 to the 1st. So sometimes we don't write the square root. We wouldn't write this 2 here, but we can write it here because we're learning how to put that index in there. What is the square root of 25? It is just 5. If I had 8 raised to the 2/3 power, I might have the cube root of 8 squared, which is the cube root of 64. This is 4. Alternately, I might have the cube root of 8 squared. The cube root of 8 is actually 2, and 2 squared would give you 4. So here I've used both of the ways that we can write that radical. How do you use this in your calculator? If you're going to put into your calculator 25 to the 1/2, you would have to put into your calculator 25 raised to the 1 divided by 2. 8 to the 2/3, you would put in as 8 raised to 2 divided by 3.